Hello everyone, welcome to APTIPLUS Academy for Civil Services. Today we are here to cover the most important aspect of the UPSC syllabus or the syllabus of any other exams in India, and which is the budget and economic survey. So in yesterday's video I have covered the economic survey in detail. You can go to the playlist and watch the economic survey in detail. And today I have come up with the budget and economic surveys, both MCQs. Okay? So from both the topic, which is budget and economic survey, the MCQs will be covered here. So I just said yesterday that the economic survey is presented a day before the budget. Okay? So one day before the budget, economic survey is presented. And yesterday the budget was presented in the parliament by the Honorable Finance Minister. And in this budget, Honorable Finance Minister has highlighted various things for the economy. Okay? And this budget focused on major 9 themes. Okay? There are 9 themes and there are 4 focus areas, and 4 focus areas are Garib, which is the poor, Yuva, which is the youth, and 4th one is Annadata, which is farmers, and then Nari. So poor, youth, farmers and women have been focused in this budget. And as you all know that budget is basically contained in the article 112 of the Constitution of India. So 112 of the Constitution of India says that President of India causes to be laid before the Parliament the annual financial statement. So this is an important term, annual financial statement. Okay? So there is no mention of budget term in the Constitution. In any of the article of the Constitution of India, there is no mention of the term budget. But Article 112 talks about the annual financial statement. So annual financial statement has been presented yesterday. Okay, if we have to talk formally, if we have to say it formally, but we generally term the annual financial budget as the union budget. Okay? So and to categorize the budget, okay, budget, as I said, is contained in Article 112, and budget is divided into 2 parts. One is capital budget, another one is revenue budget. Okay? And capital budget relates to the capital receipts. Okay? Capital receipts and capital expenditure. Okay? So capital expenditure and capital receipts is there. In the revenue budget, there is revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. Okay? And revenue receipt and revenue expenditure, okay, that is revenue budget, relates to what? That is for the day-to-day expenses of the government. For instance, paying pensions to the pensioners, to give salaries to the government employees. Okay? So these are contained in the revenue budget. Okay? To function, to work the day-to-day working of the parliament, government offices, administrative expenses. These are all contained in the revenue budget. And the capital budget contains the expenses which creates the capital, okay, which leads to capital formation in the country. For instance, creation of new infrastructure, making of roads, railway lines, introduction of new railway bridges, new mobile phones. These are all constitute as the capital budget. Okay? So capital budget is divided into capital expenditure and capital revenue. Capital expenditure is what government receives by selling the assets of the company. Okay? Government companies, for instance, whatever the government of India receives by selling the public sector stocks or the selling the shares in the public sector undertaking is called the capital revenue. Okay? Because they are receiving money by selling the capital asset of the government of India. And there is revenue receipt. What are the revenue receipts? Revenue receipts are, again, there are 2 types of revenue receipt. Okay? So if you see the revenue receipt, there are 2 types. The first one is the tax receipt. Okay? There are tax receipts and there are non-tax receipts. Tax receipts are again divided into indirect taxes and direct taxes. And what are the direct taxes? Direct taxes are taxes which are directly collected from the people. For instance, the income tax, wealth tax, gift tax, estate duty. So these are all the direct taxes. ठीक है, you have to remember what constitutes a direct taxes as well. For instance, बहुत सारा UPSC एग्जाम मतलब in the various UPSC exam, for instance in the CDS and other exams, it is asked that which of the following constitutes the tax revenue of the government of India. उसमें बहुत सारा ऑप्शन दिया रहेगा, ठीक है. So you have to know which constitutes the tax revenue, which constitute non-tax revenue, etc. So direct taxes constitutes the gift tax, wealth tax, estate duty, income tax, ठीक है. And there is indirect taxes. Indirect taxes, what are the indirect taxes? में goods and services tax, GST is one of the indirect tax, ठीक है. And indirect tax, why is it indirect tax? Because it is not directly collected from the people. For instance, if you buy a Colgate from the market, ठीक है, you are not paying tax to the government directly, but you are buying the Colgate, tax is already included there as in the form of GST or any other taxes, ठीक है. So that is a form of the indirect tax, ठीक है. And indirect tax is called regressive tax because indirect taxes falls indirectly on all the people. For instance, when you are buying, taking the example of Colgate itself, when you buy the Colgate, you are paying the tax to the government, and that taxes is being paid by all the people who buys the Colgate, ठीक है. That means everyone is paying the tax while buying the Colgate, ठीक है. But if you see the income tax is paid by only the people who are categorized by the government as rich, ठीक है. There are certain categories of people who are categorized by the government of India to pay that, they have to pay the taxes, ठीक है. For instance, this time budget proposes that 3 to 7 lakh people who owns 3 to 7 lakh has to give 5% of the tax, but they are rebatable, ठीक है. So there are certain income tax slabs, so everyone do not have to pay the taxes. For this reason, income tax is called progressive tax, ठीक है. So progressive tax, you have to remember, progressive tax, ठीक है. ये क्या है? Progressive tax is, the example of progressive tax is income tax, and the regressive tax, the example of regressive tax is the goods and services tax, ठीक है. So this is the difference between progressive and the regressive tax, ठीक है. So you have to know that. So indirect taxes and direct taxes, you know now. Non-tax receipt. So what constitutes the non-tax receipts? Non-tax receipts contains various things. For instance, the profits from that the government makes from various assets of the government of India, ठीक है. Fees and fines. There are fees and fines which constitutes the non-tax revenue. There are external grants. This is another important point. External grants, ठीक है. So external grants are important component of non-tax receipts, ठीक है. So non-tax receipt is the example of non-tax receipt is the external grant, fees and fines. There are interest receipts. So government of India, if government of India has lended some money to the banks or any other institution, and if government is getting revenue from their interest from their, that is again the non-tax receipt, ठीक है. So non-tax receipts, what it constitutes now, you know, ठीक है. So you have to know all these categories. So budget is, this is the categorization of budget, revenue budget and capital budget, and there are different type of categorization you need to know, ठीक है. And now moving on to the questions and answer, ठीक है. So first question, MCQ from this budget, and these budget questions are very important, ठीक है. So they are prepared by our the content team, ठीक है, and they are very much probable to be asked in exam. And the question is, identify the major priority sectors of the Union Budget 2024-25, ठीक है. What are the priority sectors? The first one is next generation reform. Second one is productivity and resilience in agriculture. Third is road to Viksit Bharat. Fourth is providing incentives to the unorganized sector. Fifth is direct benefit transfer to gig workers, ठीक है. So which of these are the major priority sectors of the budget? And the answer is 3, ठीक है. So next generation reforms, productivity and resilience in agriculture, and road to Viksit Bharat. So these are the three important priority sectors. But apart from these, there are other 6 sectors. As I just said, there are 9 priority sectors this time, in the budget. 9 priority sectors in the budget, and these 9 priority sectors, we'll see in detail what are the 9 priority sectors. So if you see the 9 priority sectors, these are the budget priorities. Productivity and resilience in agriculture, manufacturing and services, there is infrastructure, there is employment and skilling, there is urban development, there is innovation, resource and development, and there is inclusive human resource and social justice, and there is energy security, next generation reforms. So these are the 9 sectors. So this type of question might be asked. You have to remember which are the priority sectors in the budget. So this is the important point that you need to know. And the Union Budget 2024-25 emphasizes employment, skilling, support for MSMEs and the middle class. So middle class, which forms the major chunk of our economy, has also been prioritized in this budget, and a significant allocation of 1.48 lakh crore is earmarked for the education, employment and skilling. So this is an important point. And now moving on to next question. Next question is question number 2. Consider the following statements regarding the Union Budget 2024. Capital expenditure constitutes 31% of overall budget when effective capital expenditure is considered. Statement 2 is borrowing is the biggest in the financial year 24-25, receipt contributing 27% of the receipts. 3 is share of the direct taxes in the gross tax receipts has decreased, while the share of indirect taxes has remained stagnant or marginally increased. And 4 is revenue expenditure directed towards the social justice indicates better redistribution of wealth as direct taxes are regressive. So from this question you can easily eliminate the option 4. So in the beginning of the video I explained to you that the revenue expenditure, the direct taxes are regressive. Is this correct? This is not correct. Initially I said that the direct taxes are progressive taxes because they falls unequally among the people. So for this reason direct taxes are progressive taxes. So this statement is incorrect. That means if you know the basic fact of the economy, you do not need to go through the entire budget as well. Although budget is very important, but you need to know the basic economic facts. What constitutes budget, what are the components of the budget, what are taxes, different types of taxes, etc. So this is incorrect. And from this you can eliminate the option B and C. Now there are 2 options, A and C. And the answers is A, 1 and 2 only. 3 is incorrect. The share of direct taxes in the gross tax receipts has decreased, while the share of indirect taxes has remained indexed stagnant. So this is incorrect. So the explanation, let us see the explanation. Statement 1 is correct. Capital expenditure has grown in its share of budgetary expenditure, 23% of overall budget with the revenue expenditure of 77%. So as a share of the budgetary expenditure, overall capital expenditure is 23%. But the effective capital expenditure, so do not get confused with the expenditure. Capital expenditure and the effective capital expenditure. So expenditure as a percentage of the budget is low, which is 23%. But the effective capital expenditure is high, which is 31%. Statement 2 is correct. Borrowing continues to be biggest receipt. So borrowing, what government of India borrows, how much the government of India is borrowing, forms the highest chunk of the revenue of the government. That means Indian government is borrowing at a very high number from many years, and this is continuing since many years. In every budget the borrowing is the highest component, almost every budget. And statement 3 is incorrect. With growing pent up cost post COVID-19 pandemic, the rise in income generation has facilitated a higher share of income tax and goods and services tax. So the income tax, that is the income tax constitutes 19% and goods and services tax receipt is 18% of total revenue. That means income tax is higher than the goods and services tax this year. That is 19% and 18%. These numbers are very important. Budget, so far as budget concerns, budgets are mostly of the zero sum game. Okay, budget is mostly a game, number of games, game of numbers. Okay, you have to know these numbers. You have to know what constitutes what percent. Okay, what amount is allocated to what. Okay, what percentage has been allocated for that department, etc. All these points are important. And statement 4, as we just discussed. Okay, so we don't need to discuss statement 4. The question number 3 is budget 2024 has allocated a significant percent of funds for the renewable energy projects. Okay, this is the statement based question. And statement 2 is the goal is to achieve a net zero carbon emissions by 2070. So this is a very simple and easy question. Okay, so budget 2024 has allocated significant percent of funds for renewable energy. So if you put the common guesswork, Government of India is focusing on the renewable energy from the many decades. Okay, so for this reason, it is obvious that the budget will focus on the renewable sector. Statement 1 is correct, and the goal is to achieve the net zero by 2070. So this is again correct. Okay, statement that is, and statement is the correct. Statement C is correct. Statement A is correct. That is, both statement 1 and 2 is correct, and statement 2 is correct explanation of statement 1. Because why the Government of India is increasing spending for the renewable energy? The reason is government aims to achieve the net zero emission by 2070. Okay, so this is an answer. Answer is A. Now moving on to next question. The question number 4. Government of India announced a package to provide the employment linked incentive. ठीक है, so Government of India ने इस बजट में एक important scheme launch किया है. Scheme का नाम है employment linked incentive scheme. ठीक है, and one of the schemes name is for the first timers. ठीक है, so इसमें question क्या है कि what is the maximum monthly salary limit to be eligible for the benefit under the first timers scheme? तो यहाँ पे Government of India has basically started the employment linked incentive. ठीक है, जैसे कि PLI प्रोडक्ट लिंक्ड इंसेंटिव होता है, उसी टाइप का एक स्कीम लॉन्च किया है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने. तो इसका डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज है. ठीक है, सो इसमें हाउ मच इज द अलोकेशन फॉर व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम सैलरी लिमिट, एंड द आंसर इज सी. ठीक है, सी हाउ मच 1 लाख. 1 लाख इज द लिमिट ऑफ द बेनिफिशियरीज. ठीक है, so this is an important question again. So the name of the scheme itself is an important. ठीक है, so 3 schemes are there in the employment linked scheme. So ELI, ठीक है, ELI के अंदर कितने स्कीम हैं? 3 schemes. There are 3 schemes. First one is based on the enrollment of EA4 registration. ठीक है, कितने परसेंट EA4 में जो है एलोकेशन रजिस्ट्रेशन हो रहा है. Then there is focus on first time employees. जो फर्स्ट टाइम एम्प्लॉय है उनको भी फोकस किया जाएगा यहाँ पर. एंड थर्डली सपोर्ट टू एम्प्लॉयज एंड एम्प्लॉयर्स, बोथ द एम्प्लॉयर्स एंड एम्प्लॉयज विल बी सपोर्टेड. ठीक है, सो ये 3 कंपोनेंट याद कर रिमेंबर. एंड द स्कीम ए जो है वो फर्स्ट टाइमर्स के लिए है, और यहाँ पे जो है 1 month वेज टू ऑल पर्सन्स न्यूली एंटरिंग द वर्कफोर्स इन फॉर्मल सेक्टर्स. ठीक है, जो फॉर्मल सेक्टर एंटर कर रहे हैं उनके लिए 1 मंथ का जो है वेज पे किया जाएगा. सो दिस इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. एंड डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर ऑफ 1 month सैलरी इन 3 installments एज रजिस्टर्ड इन EPFO विल बी अप टू 15,000. ठीक है, सो DBT विल बी गिवन टू देम. ठीक है, सो 3 installment में दिया जाएगा DBT, एंड द लिमिट इज 15,000, एंड द एलिजिबिलिटी विल बी मंथली सैलरी ऑफ 1 lakh. ठीक है, सो दिस इज द क्वेश्चन, एंड दिस इज नेक्स्ट इज द बेनिफिट. It will benefit how much? 210 lakhs people in India will be benefited from this scheme. ठीक है, is that understood? The next question is consider the following regarding the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. ठीक है, so this is a flagship scheme of Government of India. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is there in the government of India from many years. ठीक है, प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना is basically related to providing the housing scheme to people, housing facilities to the people. ठीक है, different type of housing facilities are being provided to the people through this scheme. ठीक है, cheap credits is being provided to the people. ठीक है, government is giving support to them. ठीक है, so this is the question is, it is a single scheme catering to both rural and urban housing needs. It provides complete financial assistance for house construction to all beneficiaries. Statement 3 is, the scheme prioritizes the women by mandating their co-ownership in the house. ठीक है, statement, if you know basic about the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, ठीक है, one of the objective of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is to empower the women. Women empowerment is one of the priority area of the current government Modi 3.0. ठीक है, ये आपको याद रखना है. Women empowerment जब भी बात आता है, you have to take that answer as right. ठीक है, because current government is focusing on the women empowerment. For instance, giving 33% reservation to women. That is another important step that the government of India has taken. Another step is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, and there are many other schemes. ठीक है, so this statement is itself correct because government is the scheme prioritizes the women. So women household में जो है women head consider किया जाएगा. So head of the family will be considered as women. ठीक है, and the answer is, if you see the statement 3, statement 1, a single scheme catering to both rural and urban needs. ठीक है, this is correct. It provides complete financial assistance for house construction. ठीक है, so complete. This type of statement is to be avoided, but nowadays this type of elimination approach is not quite working in UPSC, because UPSC has now understood that students are applying the elimination technique. ठीक है, so for this reason elimination technique does not work nowadays. But what happens is, in most of the cases, these type of extreme statements, complete, ठीक है, extremely, these are to be almost wrong. ठीक है, in most of the cases they are wrong. So it provides complete financial assistance for house construction. This is not correct. Complete support is not given. ठीक है, support in some form is given. So answer is A, one only. Single scheme catering to rural, and both urban and rural area is covered under this scheme. ठीक है, so this is an important question. Now moving on to next question. Next question is again important, which is, consider the following statements regarding the initiatives of the Union Budget 2024 for the agricultural sector. ठीक है, so this scheme is related to the agricultural sector. The budget includes the funding for agricultural research to assess agro varieties with both public and private sector contribution. ठीक है, statement 2 is one correct. 1 crore farmers will be incorporated into national budget farming practices through certifications and branding implemented via scientific institutions and gram panchayats. Is it correct or not? Number 1 crore. ठीक है, and the mission for pulses and oilseeds aims to achieve the self-sufficiency, focusing on storage marketing with the help of farmer producer organizing cooperatives and agro startups. So this type of statement is generally correct. ठीक है, so इस type का statement में ना आपको एक point याद रखना है कि this is generic statement. ठीक है, यहाँ पे the mission for pulses and oilseeds aims to achieve the self-sufficiency. ठीक है, so as we all know that the mission mostly are aimed at achieving the self-sufficiency, this type of mission. ठीक है, so for this reason government is promoting this. ठीक है, for this reason option 3 is correct. You can guess that the digital public infrastructure for the agriculture will cover 5 crore farmers and their land registry within 3 years with digital crop surveys for kharif conducted in 500 districts. ठीक है, so you have to take the correct answer. So answer is यहाँ पे, so there are what type of question it is? It is one only, two only type questions. ठीक है, so only one, only two type of question is this, and the budget includes the both public and private sector for agricultural research. ठीक है, so statement 1 is correct. ठीक है, so if you see this statement, the budget includes funding for agricultural research to access agri varieties for both public and private sector. ठीक है. Budget focuses on both private and public sector. So statement 3(1) is correct. This is correct. ठीक है. 1 crore farmers will be benefited. ठीक है. This is again correct. The budget aims to incorporate 1 crore farmers to natural farming practices. ठीक है. So natural farming is being promoted in India. So what is natural farming? Natural farming means promoting farming in India without use of chemical fertilizers. ठीक है. So this is again correct. Statement 3, I cited that statement 3 is the mission for pulses and also aims to achieve self-sufficiency. ठीक है. Focus on the storage market by farmers, producer organizations. ठीक है. This is correct. This is generic statement. As I said, this is generally correct. And the statement 3, the digital public infrastructure. This is incorrect. ठीक है. And this in this type of question generally numbers are wrong. ठीक है. So number is not 5 crore. Digital public infrastructure is basically covering the 6 crore farmers. ठीक है. So you have to remember this point. Now moving on to next question. Next question is question number 7. Consider the statements regarding the Pradhan Mantri जनजातीय उन्नत ग्राम अभियान. ठीक है. Question number 7. प्रधानमंत्री जनजातीय उन्नत ग्राम योजना. This initiative aims to improve the socio-economic conditions of tribal communities through saturation coverage of tribal families. ठीक है. It covers the 6,300 villages benefiting 10 crore tribal people. More than 500 people. India post-payment banks branches will be opened in the underdeveloped states as a part of augmenting the banking services. An outlay of 2.66 lakh crore is allocated for rural infrastructure development. ठीक है. And answer is C, which is 1 and 4 only. ठीक है. So this प्रधानमंत्री जनजातीय उन्नत ग्राम योजना. जनजातीय means it is related to scheduled tribe in India. ठीक है. So this initiative basically aims to improve the socio-economic conditions of the tribal communities. ठीक है. So this is generic statement. This is again correct. Statement 4, outlay, which is 2.66 lakh. So this is again correct. More than 500 post payment banks. So this is not correct. ठीक है. More than 500 post payment banks will be opened in northeastern states as a part of the initiative. ठीक है. So not the underdeveloped state, but the northeastern states. So this amount is being allocated for the northeastern states. ठीक है. And it covers the 6,300 villages benefiting 10 crore tribal people. So this is again the game of number. ठीक है. This program covers the 6,300 tribal people in the 5 crore tribal villages. ठीक है. So the answer is not the 10 crore but the 5 crore tribal people. ठीक है. So if you see the people in India, there are the population of tribal itself is very low. So you cannot say that then 10 crore people will be benefited from this. Consider the following statements regarding the Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi scheme. So this scheme is again important, and Swanidhi scheme is there since 2018. ठीक है. And this scheme it is a micro credit scheme targeted towards the rural agricultural workers. So this is incorrect. ठीक है. This is not directed towards the rural agricultural workers. ठीक है. And it offers collateral free working capital loans to beneficiaries. ठीक है. And the state incentivizes the transactions through cashback rewards. So statement 2 and 3 is correct. ठीक है. So let us understand about this scheme. 2 and 3 is correct. Answer is B. So basically प्रधानमंत्री स्वनिधि scheme. ठीक है. So प्रधानमंत्री स्वनिधि scheme is basically the scheme which provides incentives to the cart workers. ठीक है. There are basically street vendors. ठीक है. This is the scheme related to the scheme vendors. And in this budget, the government envisions a scheme to support the development of 100 weekly street food hubs. ठीक है. So 100 street food hubs will be supported under this scheme. ठीक है. So this is an important scheme. So if you see the explanation of question number 8, so you can see, building on the success of PM Swanidhi, the government envisions the scheme support to the development of 100 weekly street food hubs. ठीक है. So number is important. 100 street food hubs will be supported in the select cities in next 5 years. ठीक है, next 5 years, and aims to enhance the livelihoods of the street vendors and promote local food economies. This is important. So street vendor को support करने के लिए scheme launch किया है, not the rural agricultural workers. ठीक है, and statement 2 is incorrect. प्रधानमंत्री स्वनिधि scheme is designed for the urban street vendors. ठीक है, and statement 2 is the scheme's core offering is collateral free. ठीक है, so collateral free, that means the street vendors do not require to give the collateral to get the loan. For instance, they do not have to give the mortgage, etc. ठीक है, and statement 3 is PM Sonidhi encourages digital transactions by providing cashback incentives to the beneficiaries who use the digital payment. ठीक है, so जिसने digital payment के through payment करेगा उनको reward दिया जाएगा. ठीक है, so this is an important question. ठीक है, next question is question number 9. Consider the following statements regarding the Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Mufti Bijli Yojana. This is again important scheme. ठीक है, and यहाँ पे the statement 1 is it offers complete subsidy to install the rooftop solar panels on houses, providing up to 500 units of free electricity monthly. ठीक है, यहाँ पे so this type of question में these are the factual questions. You have to be very cautious. Examiner can confuse you with many tweaks in the question. For instance, यहाँ पे weekly के जगह में monthly दे सकता है, ठीक है, annually हो सकता है, and यहाँ पे they can change the numbers. ठीक है, so for this reason examiner can confuse you. ठीक है, so the statement 1 is incorrect. ठीक है, this is a revamped scheme and government will provide the up to 60% of the cost. ठीक है, so in this scheme the government will be supporting the people up to 300 units. This is not 500 but up to 300 units. ठीक है, the statement 2 is again incorrect. ठीक है, the targets economically weaker sections. ठीक है, so the scheme targets categories, all categories, not all. This is again an extreme statement. ठीक है, not all but only the weaker section, economically weaker section is targeted. It is implemented by Ministry of Power. ठीक है, this is again incorrect. This so far as Surya Ghar Mufti Bijli Yojana. ठीक है, so name itself suggests that it is a solar power related scheme. That means it is under the Ministry of Renewable Energy, not the Ministry of Power. So this is again easy statement to cancel out. So answer is, what is the answer? यहाँ पे question में भी थोड़ा there is tricky. Which of the above statements are incorrect? Incorrect. All options are incorrect. ठीक है. Now moving on to next question. Next question is question number 10, and this is the last question from the budget. The term Bilbao effect, ठीक है, or the Guggenheim effect, ठीक है, Guggenheim effect was recently in news related to union budget. It refers to phenomena of. So what is the phenomena that is being described here? ठीक है, Bilbao effect, and the answer is the C. ठीक है, revitalizing the city's economy and image through cultural investment. ठीक है, so government of India basically is promoting the cities, ठीक है, by creating infrastructures, by creating the model cities. ठीक है, smart cities missions are there. ठीक है, to develop the cities economy, the economy of cities, and to develop the cultural image of the cities. For instance, Mumbai is a film city, Gwalior is a city of music. ठीक है, so there are different type of cities. So developing cities in that way is called the Bilbao effect. ठीक है, this is an important term, Bilbao effect or Guggenheim effect. ठीक है, so this ends the questions MCQs from the budget. Now moving on to the questions from the economic survey. Since we do not have much time, I'll not be going into a depth of the explanation. ठीक है, I'll cover the important points, but I'll not be explaining all the details. ठीक है, because the time is very limited, and the question is first question is consider the following statements in the context of economic survey 2023-24. ठीक है, so economic questions का जो answers है you can easily answer because I have already covered all these points yesterday's video. ठीक है, yesterday's videos these also have been covered. The share of the net exports to GDP increased from financial year 4 to 13 to financial year 14 to 24. ठीक है, the India's second largest recipient of remittances during the 23-24. ठीक है, and the option 3 is the Indian rupee has emerged as one of the weakest performing currencies compared to other major economies. How many of the above statements are correct? ठीक है, those who know can comment the answer. The share of the net exports to GDP fluctuated. So this type of question is generally formed in UPSc prelims. ठीक है, कि यहाँ पे पूछा जा रहा है कि there has been an GDP the net exports to GDP ratio जो है increase हुआ है from financial year 13 to 24. That means the financial in these years the net exports to GDP has always increased. That is not true. ठीक है, there is fluctuations happens in the economy. ठीक है, for instance during the pandemic time the export to GDP ratio declined. ठीक है, so for this reason this type of statement is poised to be incorrect. So this is incorrect. Statement 1, India is second largest recipient of remittances in during the 2023. This is again incorrect. ठीक है, largest recipient था India. It received around $100 billion. ठीक है, and statement 3 is again incorrect. ठीक है, Indian rupee is subject to multiple factors. Indian rupee has emerged as one of the weakest performing. No. ठीक है, Indian rupee has performed well. ठीक है, in the period. So answer is D. None of the above is correct. ठीक है. Question 2 is the contribution of agriculture in GVA is less than 20% of the GVA. This is statement 2. ठीक है. And statement 1 is this is the question number 2. It is released by JP Morgan. ठीक है, Purchasing Managers Index. This is very important index so far as economy is concerned, and this is released by JP Morgan, and Purchasing Managers Index registered a uptick across the both manufacturing and service sector. ठीक है, whether this is true or not, and answer is correct C. ठीक है, so JP Morgan basically launches this scheme. ठीक है, and जो PMI है it has seen an increase in both the services and the manufacturing sector. ठीक है, so if you see the explanation of this question, according to economic survey the leading indicators suggest that there is upturn in the purchasing managers index. ठीक है, and this is released by JP Morgan. ठीक है, and PMI is leading economic indicator which provides a snapshot of business conditions in the manufacturing and service sector. ठीक है, जो manufacturing and service sector both are covered in this PMI, and it is derived from monthly surveys of private companies. This is an important statement. ठीक है, जो PMI है this is based on the monthly survey, not the yearly or quarterly but monthly survey of the private companies, not the public companies. ठीक है, and PMI often provides an early signal of economic trends helping anticipate changes in the trends like GDP. ठीक है, so this is an important point. And the next question is question number 3. Consider the following statements about the global economic growth. ठीक है, so statement 3. Statement 1 is the as per World Economic Outlook, the global economy registered a growth of 3.2% in 2023. This is a factual question. The growth rate of global economy in 2023 is marginally higher than the 2022 growth rate. ठीक है, and statement 3 is World Bank published the World Economic Outlook. ठीक है, so this is the statement 3 is incorrect. So index से question पूछा जा सकता है, this type of question. ठीक है, which organization publishes which report? ठीक है, what is the rank of India? So these are very important. So World Economic Outlook is published by International Monetary Fund, not the World Bank. ठीक है, so statement 3 is incorrect. Let us see the other explanation. ठीक है, so the question number 3. ठीक है, so only statement 1 is correct as per World Economic Forum April 2024 International Monetary Fund. ठीक है, so IMF releases this report. The global economy registered growth of 3.2%. ठीक है, and the this growth was marginally lower than in 2022. So वर्ल्ड का जो ग्रोथ था 22 से 23 में कम था as per this report. ठीक है, in 2022 the growth was 3.5%. This is the global term. ठीक है, so this is the 3.5% in 2022 and 3.2 in 2023. Okay, so this is point important point. And now moving on to next question. The next question is question number 4, which consider the following statements about sectoral growth of India's GDP from supply side according to Economic Survey 2023-24. Contribution of service sector is almost doubled as compared to the industrial sector. Okay, and statement 2 is the contribution of agriculture GAB is less than 20% as per total GAB. Okay, so let us see the answer. Question number 4. The statement 1 is correct. According to Economic Survey 2024, the share of agriculture industry and the services sectors in the overall GAB is 17.7%. Okay, 27.6% and 54.7% respectively. That means the share of agriculture is 17.7% only. So this is an important fact. So agriculture, despite employing more than 42% of the total workforce of India, the contribution of agriculture in economy is very low. Okay, and 27.6%, that is the of industry का contribution इतना, and the services sector has the highest percentage of the contribution of GDP, which is the 54.7%. So this is higher than the half of the total contribution by any other industries. Okay, so agriculture GDP is 17.7%. Okay, which is less than the 20%. So this is again important question. Next question is question number 5. Consider the following statements. Consider the following statements regarding the Economic Survey 2023-24. Survey presents the more realistic assessment of challenges faced by Indian economy. Despite a GDP growth rate of 8% in financial year 23-24, the survey forecasts GDP growth between 6.5 to 7%. Okay, this is again correct. So this is a statement I had already discussed about it. जो forecast है economic survey का, that is 6.5 to 7%. Statement 2 is correct. So question number 5 में statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 is again correct. ठीक है, survey presents a more realistic assessment of challenges faced by economic condition. ठीक है, so this type of question is again general and you can use the common sense. ठीक है, it says that the economy, the challenges faced by economy is presented here in the economic survey. It is obvious that economic survey will publish such kind of thing. ठीक है, because India is facing challenges, so you can use the common sense here. Next question is the consider the following statements about the Data Governance Quality Index, which is DGCI. It is released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and it is based on 12 sub-indices. Okay, and a prospective analysis has the highest weightage in DGCI. Okay, so DGCI is an important report which is published by not the Ministry of Statistics and Implementation, but it is published by the Niti Aayog. Okay, there is a department of Niti Aayog, okay, which publishes this report. So statement 1 is incorrect. Okay, now let us look at the other statements and the other indicators of this DGCI. Okay, so these are the indicators. Okay, so DGCI, DGQI, the Data Governance Quality Index, is released by the DMU, which is an important department of Niti Aayog, okay, Development Monitoring and Evaluation Office. Okay, and it is a valuable tool for assessing the data governance and practices in various ministry. And statement 2 is correct, statement 3 is incorrect, because DGQI is based on the 12 indicators, so this is correct. And the prospective analysis has the lowest, not the highest, okay, weightage depicted in the image. So you can see out of 12 indicators, the perspective. Okay, so these are the indicators you can see. So out of these indicators, you can see the perspective analytics has only 2% contribution. Okay, so this is an important point. Now moving on to next question. Next question is the question number 7. Question number 7 is again an important question, which is which of the following statements are correct according to the recently released economic survey. Okay, India is 4th largest fintech economy in the world after USA, UK and China, And statement 2 is, and so far as fintech is concerned, fintech is the financial technology, okay, financial technology related products. For instance, the e-wallets, okay, e-wallets is an example of financial technology. That is the technology that is used in the financial inclusion, okay, to for the better financial inclusion in the country, okay, for better, for providing the better financial services, okay. And the statement 2 is less than 50% of women have bank accounts under the Jan Dhan Yojana. There is an employment improvement in household financial assets to GDP ratio, okay. So let us see the answer. Question number 7, okay. Question number 7, what the question number says, answer is B, okay. Question number 7, the India is third largest fintech economy in the world, okay. This is correct, and this is after US and UK. So UK and US is the number 1 so far as the financial technology is concerned, and India का जो ecosystem है that is rising. And if you see the economic survey 2024, women holds the 56% of total accounts under Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, ठीक है. So that means higher than half of the women has the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan accounts, ठीक है. So this is an important point again that you have to know, ठीक है. And according to the economic survey, there has been an improvement in India's household financial asset to GDP ratio, ठीक है. So household asset to GDP ratio has also increased. So this is another important point. Now moving on to next question. Next question is according to the economic survey, ठीक है. According to the economic survey, a key challenge for the government in managing inflation is, what is it? So what are the challenges that the government faces so far as the economy is facing, ठीक है, in managing the inflation? What are the challenges? So you can comment what are the challenges, what might be the challenge that economy faces so far as management of inflation is concerned, ठीक है. Which might be the option? To reduce the core inflation drastically while neglecting the food inflation, maintain a balance between price stability and false ceiling economic growth, primarily focus on loading core inflation through monetary policy alone, prioritize food price control measures without considering the impact on other sectors, ठीक है. So this statement is incorrect, easily we can say this, ठीक है. So this is extreme statement, and the answer is B, which is the maintain balance between price stability and false ceiling economic growth, ठीक है. So to maintain the balance between the price stability and जो economic growth है, that is very difficult for the country, ठीक है. So statement, the question number 8, the answer for question number 8 is this, ठीक है. The economic survey emphasized that decline the delicate balance between government needs to maintain between the controlling inflation and ensuring continued economic growth. There is need to maintain a balance between the economic growth as well as the price stability. So this is an important challenge so far as the management of the inflation is concerned. The next question and the second last question for today is consider the following statements about the gross capital formation, ठीक है. GFCP, gross fixed capital formation is very important term. That means how much capital formation has taken place in the country last year, ठीक है. So GFCP has more than 50% contribution to India's GDP. The contribution of union government to GFCP capital expenditure has steadily increased in the last 4 financial years. The statement 3 is the state government's capital expenditure has also increased in the last 4 years, ठीक है, which might be the correct answer, ठीक है. Let us see the answer. This is the question number 9, which is the second last question, ठीक है. So the GFCF, as I discussed, is the total value of investment in the fixed asset. How much the government of India has invested in the fixed capital, for instance the machinery, buildings, ठीक है, infrastructure, road development, railway infrastructure, उसमें government कितने % expenditure कर रहा है, that is called the gross fixed capital formation, and it contributes to around 24% of the GDP. This is very important, ठीक है. GFCF contributes 24% to the GDP of India, and you can see the chart here, and the capital expenditure of both the union and state governments has increased ठीक है, in absolute terms in the last 4 years this is correct. And the share of private sector in the capital expenditure has also increased. ठीक है, प्राइवेट सेक्टर का जो एक्सपेंडिचर है, the spending of the private sector in the infrastructure development has also increased, because many private sectors have been investing in the Indian economy, and government is also focusing on public private partnership, ठीक है, and also the share of private sector in capital expenditure has increased in the last financial year, ठीक है. So now let us see the last question of today, which is the consider the following statements about the India's gross domestic product. So this is related to GDP, ठीक है. So this is related to GDP. According to economic survey, India's real GDP grew by 8.2%. This is correct. So we just discussed about it, that India's GDP grew by 8.2% this fiscal, and this is higher than the last 3 fiscal. And Indian real GDP is growing over 8% in the third consecutive year. This is again correct, ठीक है. The third 3 consecutive years India had 8% GDP growth, but this time India's GDP growth is 8.2%, and GDP growth is mainly driven by stable consumption demand and steadily improving investment demand, ठीक है. So answer is D, ठीक है. So demand improve हो रहा है, consumption भी improve हो रहा है. For this reason there is continuous growth in GDP. So these were important 20 questions which were from the budget and economic survey. So you can comment your doubts. If you have any doubts related to any topic, you can comment your doubt. So these were the budget and economic survey through the MCQs, ठीक है. We covered the 20 most important questions from the budget and economic survey, and to these questions the important topics from the budget have been picked up, important topics from the economic survey has been covered. So after watching this video, you will be able to answer most of the important MCQs which is asked from budget and economic survey. So practice these questions, ठीक है, revise these. I'll be sharing the PDF in the description section as well. So this was all for today about the budget and economic survey. We'll meet again in the next video. So having said that, I'm concluding today's session. Thank you. Take care.